Hey, what's up, guys? It's Ty from Ronin Customs. Hey, so this is not a part. So basically what I'm doing is I'm getting ready for a small part. We're going to grab it here from my truck. But I need a nice clean spray surface. And if I put it down on this wood, there's a chance that dust will blow up from the wood and all that stuff. So I'm going to use an air compressor to blow off all the wood. Then basically what I've done is I've just wrapped an ATV tire in brand new trash bag. Let's go grab this part. There it is. All right. So this is it's called a shaker hood scoop, or it's a hood scoop for a Challenger. It goes in a shaker hood. Boom. So now I can get all the way around the part. I can get under the lip. I don't really need to get under the lip much, but gives me a really nice clean surface that's dust free and gives me a good prep station. So anyway, basically we got to do a little touch up here. I don't know what happened there. I think it was a razor blade. Somebody was taking some emblems off and nicked it a little bit with a razor blade. So as a result of that problem, we actually have to respray the whole thing black. So we're going to do a base black, and then I think I'm going to keep the design a little surprise until we get there later. Hey, so before I get started, I thought maybe I'd go over supplies and show you, exactly what I have to use in order to do a project like this. First up on the list, this is an air filter for the paint gun. Basically, this screws onto the end of the paint gun here. I just call it an orange. Looks like an orange. It helps filter all the air that goes into the paint gun. It's really important. They're a 1 or 2 time use, but then you throw them out. But it's really important that you keep the air clean in the paint gun. Here we have some Scotch-Brite pad. This one's the red. The red is the most one of the more aggressive ones. This is really good on a part that's already been coated and primered. If you're working on a bare part or you're working on metal, this isn't the thing for you. There's a whole nother process. But for this part, it's already been painted, so we're using Scotch-Brite. Of course, we got mixing cups. We're going to need those. This is called a tack cloth. It's like a waxy cloth. So when you're finally done prepping, cleaning again, you go over it with this, and it helps remove any last dust particles before you spray. I got reducer. So whenever you mix up, let's see, here we go. So this is black paint right here. The paint is really, it's really syrupy. It's very thick. So in order to get it sprayable, you mix it with a solvent reducer. Then the reducer evaporates fairly quickly out of the paint, leaving just the pigment from the paint left on the part. And that's kind of how paint goes on. I've got this sweet satin clear. So it's going to be a satin clear coat over the top of what we're doing today. So anyway, so these are most of the parts. In this bottle, I got wax and grease remover. I got a whole thing of it over here. This is super, super important if you are going to spray your own part. Doesn't matter if it's spray paint, automotive paint, you're doing it professionally, you're doing it out of a booth, you're doing it in your garage, whatever the case is, you have got to get wax and grease remover. You must. That's a must. I can't stress that enough. There's a few other things that I keep around the shop that I keep handy, like lacquer thinner and some alcohol. I usually have alcohol lying around. So anyway, I'm going to get started prepping this part, and we'll take a look at the next step. All right, these Scotch-Brite pads come in large pieces, so we have to make sure to cut them down, so that's coming up next. All right, just got to cut in half here. We're ready to start. Essentially, all you need to do is give it a few scratches. There we go. So we're going to run with this all the way around. We're going to do it once, probably do it a second time just to make sure we got every last little detail, and then the whole part will look like this by the time we're done. So it's important to swap these out, make sure you got really even scratches all the way around. I can't have it looking like this. It's got to look more like this. And when we're done, we'll start cleaning. All right, the first pass is done. We're starting on here now. This is going to require sanding. So there's a little, I don't know if you can hear it. There's a little lip there, and it'll show through the paint if I just leave it. So I'm going to have to grab some sandpaper and clean it up just a hair. I'm going to use that with a regular air sander, so I'm going to get to that. All right, all done with the sanding. Feather those spots out. Now you can see the layers there. It's really important that we make sure those layers are prepped properly and nice and clean. We also have to make sure they're dry. So any cleaning solution that I used may have seeped in between those layers. We'll make sure that it's totally cured. So it's going to take a little bit of more work, a little more cleaning, and then it'll be ready to spray. Finished second set of prep. Went over the whole thing again, cleaned up the side. I did one cleaning with the wax and grease remover, and I want to show you guys this. Look how dirty those paper towels are. There has got to be more left on there. Even though I cleaned it, I now have to go through, clean it again with brand new towels. Look at the paper towels. If they look dirty again, I got to clean it a third time. If they look dirty again, I got to clean it a fourth time. So it is super, super, super important that you remember to clean everything 100%. Not 90%, not 95%, 100% clean. She's all prepped and ready to go. Still got to clean it with the tack cloth, but I'm going to wait till the very last minute. The problem with cleaning in an area like what I have here, where it's just a big open garage with an open garage door, is that dust and bugs and all that stuff can land on her. So what I want to do is mix up my black paint, have it ready to go in the gun, ready to spray. And then right then, at that very last second, I'm going to tack it down, lay the coat on. Now granted, a couple of specks of dust might land in there somewhere, but for small projects like this, you can get away with it. You just need to make sure it's clean just before you spray. If anything lands on the spray, there's not much you can do about it. But a lot of times that stuff you can do afterwards when you clear coat. You can clean up any dust nibs or what they call trash. Any trash in the clear coat with wet sand and polish. So in this case, we're ready to go. We're all ready to go. Everything's been prepared. It's all cleaned up. Sanded and feathered those little chunks that were missing out of the white. But basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix up some black paint. We're gonna get it all ready just before I start to use that wax paper. Once I use the wax or the wax cloth, once I use the tack cloth, all the dust will be off the project. What I want to do is wait until the very last second. So you guys can see, this is just a big open garage with an open garage door. So I don't have like a perfectly clean room to work in today. I got a paint booth coming in about a month, but I just don't have a perfectly clean room to work in. So what I want to do is I want to mix up the paint, tune the gun, have it all ready to go, and then as soon as I'm ready to spray, I take the wax or the tack cloth and I wipe the whole piece down with it. And then I spray immediately. So that gives me the greatest chance of having no dust on my project when I start laying paint down. Now some dust might land in the top when I'm spraying or after I'm spraying. There's really very little I can do about it here, but because the part is so small, the flash times are very fast. It's very hot today. Even if dust lands on it, as long as it lands on it after 5 minutes, I can wax cloth the dust off again. It's really important that you kind of plan for the project, plan for your environment, plan for everything. Take everything into account because you're gonna have to make some adjustments. If you don't have a booth, great, shoot in your garage. It'll still turn out good. I promise you, it'll still turn out good. But because you don't have a booth, you're gonna have to make different choices when it comes to how you go through the process. We're gonna mix up some paint, get it all ready to go, get it in the gun, tune the gun, clean off the part, and then spray right away. All right, got a coat and a half. I say half because the very first coat goes on very, very, very light. A black on there, you can kind of see that primer underneath. So you can still see some hefty scratches on here. That's from the Scotch-Brite. Once we get a couple of coats on, and then a clear coat, those are all disappear. They're very small scratches. In actuality, we're gonna wait a couple more minutes and then spray on the next coat of black. We're gonna get a nice heavy base coat of black on here, but all in all, it's not too bad. So we'll go over it again with the wax cloth, get off any last dust bits that might be on there, and then looks like we're ready to spray another coat here in about 30 seconds. Just got done with the third, 2.5 coat. Still a little wet here. Noticing some dust that lands on it. I think we're gonna might do one more coat just to be on the safe side. I don't want to do too many because I gotta lay vinyl over here and I need it to all cure before I lay the vinyl down. It's definitely coming out. It's coming out well. I think this is gonna work out great. All right, here's the hardest part of the project. We got to get the vinyl on a 3D surface. It is extremely tedious and difficult, and it looks terrible at the beginning, but by the time we get all the way through, it's going to look awesome. All right, here's the surprise. I'm sure you guessed from the last clip, but doing a nice American flag, kind of distressed, looks a little battered, like war-torn. We're going to do a ghost pearl on this flag. So by the time we're done, it should just be a hint of pearl. Not a ton, just a little teeny bit. You should only be able to really see it in the sun. It's going to be light. Here we go. All right, last coat of clear coat's on. It looks shiny now, but the matte The matte clear it'll turn to satin as it starts to cure. It'll satin up a bit, so it looks really good clear. But there it is. There's a ghost American flag on a Challenger intake. I'll take another video tomorrow when it cures up and we'll go from there. All right, it's all done. Came back the next morning. All of the matte clear coat turned out perfect. I love it. It's not shiny at all. The pattern just looks super good. The idea the customer wanted, he wanted to have it just subtle. Like during the day you could see it, but it was subtle. At night you'll barely be able to see it. He just wanted it kind of ghosted, so I think he's going to be very happy.